What up, fam? Welcome back to the Fintress Way. I'm here with another update. I am 9 months out, you guys, and I am so excited to be here. When I tell you, I still to this day have absolutely no regrets, like none whatsoever. I am feeling better. I'm feeling lighter. I have more energy, and I'm just a lot more optimistic about life. Like, you know, throughout this journey, you have ups and downs, but I will say that when it boils down to it, I'm just ultimately in a better place. So before I get to spilling out all my feelings and whatnot, I wanted to come back and give you guys an update, I guess a status on what my weight is and all those other things. And then, I actually have a lot of questions and answers here lately. I've been just kind of putting out content and people have just general questions about the surgery. So I will be touching on a little bit of all of that. But say no more, let's get started. Oh yes, before I forget, if you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, please do so now, okay? Hit the bell for notifications if you'd like to follow along, just to make sure that you are in the know. All right, so first things first, just a little back history. I started at my highest weight at 289, which, Jesus, that is like so close to 300 pounds. And I remember saying to myself, Brianna, okay, you can't hit that number. Like, that cannot happen, okay? So 289 was my highest weight. My surgery weight was 277 because in between your starting of the weight loss surgery process and actually having surgery, they want you to kind of implement, you know, those healthy eating habits, those exercise habits. So I was able to lose, you know, quite a few pounds between that time. And I want to say it was roughly about 6 months or so. And currently, since surgery, which was 9 months ago, I have lost officially 100 pounds. So from 289 to 289 to 187 is actually where I am. So a little over 100 pounds now, and I am just so excited. Like, I thought I was gonna stop there, but honestly, I mean, I don't even really know. Like, I'm still going and I'm comfortable where I am. I don't feel like I look sick. So I'm gonna keep going. I think my new goal is gonna be 175. The process is roughly, I would say, 5 to 6 months, but that is going to vary, of course, according to your insurance, which I'll touch on that a little bit later about insurance approving you and all that jazz. But for me, I know it took about 5 or 6 months. I started the journey in May, and my first class was in May, and there was one class a month, and from that one class a month up until October, I took my one class a month, which was the nutrition class, and I also did a sleep study. There were some blood tests that had to be ran, and I believe that's all. Yeah. Look, I believe that's it. It was only 9 months ago. You would think I would remember, honestly, but it went so fast. And that's another thing I want to say. Like, most of the time, you know, we always want to rush things, but I had to think about it like, Brianna, you've been fat all your life. I mean, what's a few more months? You know what I mean? So I went ahead and I weathered the storm. I stuck it out. I implemented those healthy eating habits, those exercise habits along the way, so that when I got to surgery, it wouldn't be such of a shock, you know, to my body, to just my everyday routine. So yeah. When I got done with my last class, now you got to play the waiting game. I went through insurance being approved, and that took roughly about, it really honestly didn't take long. Like I said, I try to go into things like with an open mind, and that helps my nerves. Like, I don't want to be on pins and needles up until approval. So I just kind of like, you know, I went ahead, sent my paperwork in, I prayed about it, and I let it go. And I want to say it was maybe like 2 weeks, honestly. I don't even feel like it was long at all. So 2 weeks for the approval, and then you have to go through, I think, a couple more tests And that's just for surgery to kind of make sure that you're ready for surgery itself. I know a lot of people have problems with like sleep apnea, and that's the thing. That's a big thing for them because they want to know that if they're giving you this medication while you're under, that you're going to wake up, you know, in a normal amount of time. So I know they ran that test. There was another test, and I can't remember the name of it right now. If I remember, I'll put it in the comments or in the description box. But other than that, I took a 4-hour class that was very detailed, very descriptive about like everything that you're going to encounter throughout the journey after surgery. So that was very helpful. I still have that book. I call it my Bible, my bariatric Bible, because when I tell you, if you have any questions, refer to that book. So from October to November, I was approved and I was just prepping myself for surgery. Honestly, I had it December 22nd, which was really close to Christmas Eve. And I thought for a second, like, should I be doing something so major around the holiday? But I just was like, I can't wait. Like, you know, I had the approval. They're asking me if I want to come on the 22nd, and actually somebody had canceled. So I felt the opportunity to just go ahead and do it, you know. So I went in on the 22nd. I stayed in the hospital for 2 days. I got out on Christmas Eve. Recovery time, I would say, is a week. And I would only say a week just because for me, I mean, I've had babies. And when I tell you the recovery on having a baby is legitimately a long process. Like this had nothing on having a baby. So I'm gonna say a week. Some people like to, you know, drag it out because they maybe can't deal with pain. But I, for one, think I handle pain really well. So when I got out the hospital on Christmas Eve, I went over my husband's grandmother's house, and, you know, I wasn't like, you know, moving around and doing all that stuff. But I mean, I had my medicine stuff. I definitely took it easy. I couldn't eat anything, so that wasn't much. But I went over there and I sat back in her little recliner, and I'm just, you know, enjoying Christmas Eve, and I was fine. Like, it didn't really faze me much. So for some people, like I said, it may be a week, it may be longer, and of course it's going to depend on you know, your complications, if you have any, and then it's also just going to depend on your pain tolerance. Ultimately, like, I can deal with it. I try to press through it also because I don't want to, you know, be on medication long. And for the blood clot reason, I know that was kind of important because blood clots can form if you're not moving around enough. So in my head, I'm like, I need to keep moving. I gotta keep moving because I'm not trying to have any complication whatsoever. I went back to the doctor 2 weeks later, and he cleared me to even go to the gym. So I mean, it's really up to you. Insurance. My situation is a little different. I have what is called the Healthy Indiana plan. So I pay a portion copay, and they pay for the rest, and it's the same with surgery. So I didn't really pay a whole lot out of pocket for the surgery. So I would just call your insurance company, make sure that it covers, and then ask them roundabout how much they think you might be paying out of pocket. Like I said, it's going to vary depending on surgeries. It's going to vary depending on what particular network or hospital you go through. So definitely start there when it comes to starting out this whole process. With the insurance thing, is that's going to depend on how many classes you take according to what insurance requires you to have. So for me, it was 6 months. Another thing I had to do was you have to go see the psychologist. The psychologist is a very important part of the process because they want to make sure that you are mentally ready to take on such a surgery. I think for a lot of people, they don't really want to have to do that whole psychology piece just because it's the easy route. But honestly, I feel like because I went through that process, it helps me still to this day to kind of, you know, decipher through my emotions and, you know, how I'm feeling about food. And I'm able to, you know, kind of press through and not use food as that comfort, you know what I mean? I know for a lot of us, we tend to go to food as our comfort, you know, throughout whatever events we go through in life. And she just told me, she broke it down and was like, you know what? You're not going to be able to use food as comfort anymore. So she helped me to kind of use some other strategies, some other ways to get through those events in life instead of using food, which I think is awesome, because I'm telling you, in the Black community, in our culture, we will eat about absolutely anything. Do you hear me? Okay, a birthday, a funeral, a wedding, just a simple get together because we feel like it. Like, that's just how it is. Like, we love to celebrate, and it's all centered around food. So I will say that going to the psychiatrist definitely helped me to understand, you know what I mean, that food is literally just to live, not to just be indulging and indulging and indulging. Okay. So post-op pain is minimal. I say on a scale from 1 to 10, my pain was probably like a 7. And that's only in the first couple of days, because of course it gets better throughout the time. But I want to say I maybe only used my pain medicine for like the first 2 days being home, because the pain just isn't that bad. I think if you take it easy, and you know, because they make those very small incisions, that you know, you heal faster and it's less pain because they do it the laparoscopic way, which I think is awesome. So no, it didn't really hurt that bad, honestly. Like I said, I've had children and that was worse. Was I scared? I wasn't so much scared as I was nervous, just because I think not knowing what life is going to be like after the fact was a little nerve-wracking. Not that I was scared about the actual surgery, but I was just nervous as to, will I lose the weight, or will I look like so-and-so, which is a whole nother video, because what you don't want to do is compare yourself to the next person. So I wasn't scared. I was just nervous because I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect. So, you know, that was probably the worst part about surgery before I had it.